Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 262 of our trip around the United States. We are getting things started off this morning in Herman, and it looks like Herman, situated right above the Big Muddy River, also known as Missouri River, has a few gems in store for us. For today's route, we will be covering 320 miles as we make our way south toward the southern edge of Missouri. We are going to be making our way as steadily south as we do on most days because, as you know, we don't really go anywhere in a straight line. From here in Herman, we'll be making our way southwest through the small towns in the rolling hills until we reach Waynesville. At Waynesville, we'll get on at the interstate and follow that east right until we get north of Steelville. From Steelville, we will drop all the way southeast until we hit Ironton. And then Ironton is where things are going to get really interesting for the day. We're going to be trying to manage our time throughout the day to ensure that we get there with some daylight on our side because we want to go to the top of Taum Sauk Mountain, which is the highest point in the state of Missouri. Albeit it's not all that high compared to many other states, but when we have the opportunity to get to the high point in any state, we want to jump on it. So hopefully we'll have time to go ahead and get there tonight, and we won't have to cut any of the interesting stuff we have along the way between here in Herman, Waynesville, Steelville, and of course, the high point at Taum Sauk Mountain. So let's get out there and see what today has in store. Come on, let's go.
Today we kick things off in Herman, the county seat of Gasconade County with a population of just over 2,000 people. The city was founded in 1837 by the German Settlement Society of Philadelphia. While there had been several other county seats for Gasconade County, once this city was established, the county seat moved here in 1842, where it still remains to this day. That original structure was replaced by the current courthouse in 1898, which is thought to be the only courthouse built entirely with private funds. The history of the town's namesake be traced all the way back to 9 AD with the story of Herman de Chersker. Better known in history is Arminius, a chieftain of a Germanic tribe who commanded an alliance of Germanic tribes to oversee the destruction of 3 Roman legions. Historians regard Arminius' victory as one of Rome's greatest defeats. By commanding the German forces to stop the Roman invasion, he essentially stopped the Romanization of the Germanic people east of the Rhine. Even more than that, though, it is thought to be one of the most decisive battles in history, which marks a complete turning point in human history. If I had to choose a strong, proud name for my city, standing guard over the river, I could think of few better names than that of Herman the Liberator. Exactly as I had anticipated, once we departed Herman, the cities and people disappeared behind us and gave way to rolling green hills in front. The majority of the remainder of our day would be filled with views just like this as we rolled from one county and page to the next, seeking out the geocache targets we needed to qualify in each. While we did find a handful of micros today, they were the exception rather than the rule. The majority of containers that we came across today were either regular or small-sized. And for the most part, they were all located fairly close to where we could park the car. While I certainly never mind hiking out for a geocache, we are on a bit of a time crunch today, knowing we need to reach the high point at the end of our schedule before sunset. Sticking close to the car with relatively easy grabs helped to expedite the time and keep us moving right along. In seemingly no time at all, we had completed our trek southwest out of Herman through the rolling hills, knocking out all of our county and page targets. Now, just a couple of finds left to make before we reach our next destination. We'll go ahead and wrap these finds up with a classic guardrail hide.
Well, that's a different kind of guardrail hide, isn't it?
The first people we would see again would be in Waynesville, the county seat of Pulaski County with a population of about 5,500 people. Established in 1833, Waynesville first began as a trading post for settlers and trappers. Those settlers arrived by wagon train from Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, North and South Carolina, and sometimes even further south than that. During the Civil War, the Union Army constructed a fort on the bluff that faces Interstate 44 to protect Wire Road from attack. While the fort itself no longer stands, the memory of the raids and skirmishes that occurred during that time live on, through both historical markers and other artifacts from the period. Before heading out of Waynesville, we needed to make one more stop at Rubidoux Springs and Roy Laughlin Park. This site hosts a second magnitude spring, which is thought to be the 15th largest within the state. It is also historically recognized as one of the stops along the Trail of Tears, when the Cherokee were forced to relocate from their homes to Oklahoma. Heading out of Waynesville in pursuit of a relatively new virtual, things began to get weird quickly as we delved into a place we've never been before, Uranus. In total, there are about 25 people living in Uranus, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not even sure how they all fit into this small space. Nevertheless, lured in by promises of chocolate-covered bananas and tightly packed fudge, we wanted to see what other surprises might come out of Uranus. And it did not disappoint. Not only did we discover that there was an adventure lab here hiding in Uranus, but the smells of freshly made chocolate sauce drifting out of Uranus helped to guide our feet as we moved from one stage to the next. Seriously though, all jokes aside, of which there are plenty to be had here, this is actually a pretty great place to stop off for a while with your family to enjoy some snacks, scenic sights, and play some games. In total, there are 10 main attractions here to check out, including the Fudge Factory and General Store where you can pick up many delicious treats, the Circus Sideshow Museum where you can view oddities like two-headed animals, unicorn skulls, and Fiji mermaids, and the Putt Pirates where you can grab a few golf clubs and then sink a ball or two into a hole in Uranus. All that's to say that not only was this tiny town not included on the target list for the day, but we had not even known it existed until we already invested the time to go into Uranus. This spot helped to fill a massive void in our day and gave us an unexpected opportunity to run into the world's largest.
The world's largest belt buckle. I bet y'all thought this was going to be found in Texas, didn't you?
To reach our next destination, we needed to cross the Big Piney River, which brought us across a bridge at the Devil's Elbow. This tight, incised meander was once known as one of the 7 scenic wonders of Missouri and was an important highlight along the old Route 66. Coming into Iron County, we were pleased to find that we still had enough time to visit Taum Sauk Mountain within the St. Francois Mountains, the highest natural point in the state of Missouri. In order to get the best view of the area possible, we quickly make our way to the top of the Taum Sauk Lookout Tower, which was constructed by the Missouri Department of Conservation in 1949 and is still in use today. This 72-foot tall steel tower with a wooden cab located at the top was the very first to be listed on the register for the state. And while access to the cab on top is limited, you can still get quite a fantastic view from the top of the staircase located right below the entrance door. We got a good view of the setting sun and our next destination on the trail from up here. All but one of the physical geocaches we wanted to pursue at the top of the mountain have been archived, but the one that remains is a good one. The High Pointer cache, hidden back in 2012, is hidden at Jack's Glade, which was completed and dedicated on September 8th of 2007. The site stands in honor of Jack Longacre, better known as Guru Jack. He is the founder of the National High Pointers Club, which he ran from his home located at the nearby Russell Mountain for several years. While the Taum Sauk Lookout Tower may stand above the landscape and provide an awesome 360-degree view, it is not actually the highest natural point in the state. The highest point itself is located only about another mile down the road with a short quarter-mile hike out to the point. Aichan and I both enjoyed the casual stroll, enjoying the sunset and taking in the sights one step at a time. As we had not done much hiking this morning since Herman, she wasn't too sure how far we had to go, but I assured her it was not far at all to reach our destination. She began to relax when she saw me opening up the box at the end of the trail and preparing to sign the logbook. Even though this is not an official geocache, it still feels much the same way when you add your name to a summit log. And that's it, Aichan. We've done it. Not only have we made it to the end of the trail, but we have made it to the end of our route for the day at the highest point in the state of Missouri. Now, let's sit down and enjoy a beautiful sunset before we wrap things up.
And it looks like that is a wrap to our day. We accomplished the mission. We made it to the top of Taum Sauk Mountain at 1,772 feet, the highest point in the state of Missouri. Now I realize that this is still a lot lower than the lowest elevation in many states, but we have made it to the top, nevertheless. it was a pretty darn good day. We kicked things off in Herman, and just like I expected, that county seat had a lot of gems to offer us. We were able to tour through using a few stages of the adventure labs, the virtuals, and some good geocaches to find some of the best spots in town. Once we left, however, it was really rolling hills through the country. We really didn't even see the small towns that we saw yesterday. What we saw today were towns that were in the maybe double, triple digit populations all the way through until we got to Waynesville. And then when we got to Waynesville, we had the surprise of a lifetime because we got to get all up in Uranus. And I really enjoyed exploring everything Uranus had to offer for us today. Between the chocolate dipped bananas, all the fudge packing, and the other things that come out of Uranus, it's definitely a place that many people should visit. Thank you guys for joining us today as we toured our way south through Missouri to inevitably reach the highest point. Can't wait to see what tomorrow has in store. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.